Hello, hello, hello. This is the Duke. It's just an alias, not my official title, my self proclaimed title. And today going to quickly respond to a tweet from Shaun Bailey, uh, mayoral candidate of London 2021. I've been following his campaign for about a year and a half, seeing him making huge strides on social media to get his face out there and to gain more public appeal. But I personally think he still needs to work on his credentials and holdings, as he needs a lot more weight to compete with many candidates that fill up the polls. And can seems to carry a lot more weight in London, of course, having a huge Labour bloc in London. It would require a lot more convincing to shake up loyalties to the Tories, as Sean is a conservative politician. So I'm going to just address one of the tweets that I saw him post today, if that's in real time for people who are listening. And as you can see on the screen, he tweeted, um, research shows there are no black CEOs, CFOs, or chairs in the FTSE 100 index. The FTSE 100 index, of course. We must help companies find the talent in diverse communities. As Mayoral, I'll work with top companies to help them uncover black executives. It's time for a fresh start. And so I did actually reply to this directly myself. Just gonna go back to find it. And this is what I wrote. If you can check, this is my Twitter. If you want to follow me, go ahead. And I started off saying, this shouldn't be reinforced through policies. Um, Black executives would and should work their way up like every other staff going into this career path. It's a competitive field on merit. Why give people an upper hand simply based on ethnicity? Encourage it, not reinforce it. And so that was my point that I raised. And then I also replied to someone else who said, just made a very sort of, I think, lazy point. Low black representation in the boardroom is a direct consequence of poor education or attainment, nothing more, nothing less. I then replied saying, not entirely. The focus should be on encouraging more people of color to pursue these sectors. There are people competent enough to do so, but might not continue to, you know, further their career or to gain a promotion simply based on how comfortable they may be in the position they're in the corporate world. And this is a time dependent factor rather than reinforced agendas, because most CEOs reach their positions with both hard work and an average of 24 years to become a CEO. And then I said 20 years ago, of course, diversity in these sectors were a lot lower than they are today. And 20 years from now, we could see a natural trend in black staff reaching more, upward mobility and likely promotions. This requires sort of accountable decisions being made by individuals in these positions rather than forcing them to pursue this and al- allowing them to have a space in the room. For what reason, for what purpose, and how long they have been in that company. All these factors are necessary to make a decision as big as that. And I think, yes, a long a few decades ago, this may have been a necessary way to sort of reinforce and change public opinion on racism in the workplace. But in this modern day and age, in this modern era, when it comes to workplace experiences for a black person in the corporate world, especially in London, meritocracy is placed more emphasis on. Not denying that there isn't racism in these spaces, but of course reinforcing these goals with policies may disrupt the natural trend of how people are promoted, how people are led into these positions because it's very competitive. You're talking about, of course, higher, you know, regard to salary, higher position, higher authority in that workplace. It should come with experience. And then you have to sort of mitigate the numbers within that. How many people of color pursue these roles, pursue these careers? Where are we found? And I think these conversations should be had first before addressing them in sort of this forefront of appeasing the public. And I feel like that's what Sean Bailey's attempting to do. I mean, it makes sense, it's understandable, but it's not, in my opinion, an efficient way to approach this conversation, especially for black voters he may want to, catch attention to. I don't think it really helps. And that's why I feel as well when it comes to his experience, how credible is his credentials, his background. Yes, he's worked as a youth worker, but then how useful is he in these different sectors and fields? Is he a great speaker and someone who can drive and motivate, you know, the masses? Maybe, but of course, he needs to understand sort of more of the experience of these business sectors and the economy and how efficient to run and to support, a huge city as London. I mean, I believe he can be as competitive in any other city in the UK. Plenty of chances in those cities, but when it comes to London, that's the most prominent um battleground for candidacy. And I feel like his credentials might need a lot more weight. As I've said already, this tweet sort of, represents what I think of his approach to this conversation. Um, and needs more thinking, more thought out, you know, uh, agendas in order to represent this. And I think he could have approached it differently. It's definitely something to raise, but approach it very different, which is to, again, encourage it, not reinforce. But anyway, thank you very much for listening. I am going to um follow up on his work in any way. Oh, I've got someone who's listening. Hey, how are you doing, Holy One? You good? Do you have any comments on this topic? Do you feel like of Sean Bailey? Do you have any inputs to place on this topic? Just let me know. Well, I'll have about 2 minutes left to cover this and see what we can take from it as well. But yeah, that's how I followed it. If you've just joined me, you can watch the pre-recorded part of it. Just trying to keep it short and sweet. But for now, yes, thank you for listening. You think it's a good idea then? Yeah, I think it's a good conversation to have, but I'm convinced he's approaching it a bit um dangerously. I think, especially for his politics, because he is a conservative, a Tory candidate. How is he approaching this conversation? Is he just trying to appeal to a different voting base, or is he approaching a realistic idea? And I'm just going to repeat what I've just said. This shouldn't be reinforced through policies. Black executives would and should work their way up like every other staff going into this career path. It's a competitive field on merit. You know, pursuing a CEO position takes years. It takes about 20 to 30 years to even be a worthy candidate, of experience. Why give people upper hand simply based on their ethnicity? You should encourage it more. But it's definitely a conversation to have. But what narrative is he trying to hold? That's my point. Uh, I don't know how anyone else would see it. Thank you very much, mate. I hope you subscribe and you stay tuned. I'll make sure to make a lot more content. But thanks a lot for your comment. Um, yes, I was just hoping to keep this under 10 minutes. and then I would return again tomorrow with something else to raise an interesting topic to have. Thank you very much. But yes, I will be tuning in again tomorrow. I'll set a reminder. But I hope you could watch back and hear my opinion on this topic again. All right, see you later. Thank you.